Hey guys, welcome to F9 TV. I am JayEXL. Welcome to this week's Game Week recap. Here on the Game Week recap, I just have a look at all the games from the Barclays Premier League, and then I just give my thoughts and opinions on the games that have happened. Make sure to like and subscribe. We got more videos and more content coming out real soon. So let's start off with the Man United versus Chelsea game. That game ended up finishing 0-0. On a Saturday night, these lot decided that they wanted to bore the entire country and give us an absolute snooze fest. The only thing of note that happened in this game was Harry Maguire's challenge on Aspilicueta. I say challenge. It was a sleeper hold. I don't know what this was. Honestly, this is not a challenge. It's not a tackle. I don't even know what. Look at this. Look at this so-called challenge that was deemed a legal maneuver to perform on a football pitch. Like, whatever they say he did in Greece, he did that shit. Because if you can do this on a football pitch, who knows what you can do after a couple of Jaeger bombs in a bar in Mykonos. VAR looked at it and they said, yeah, that's not a foul. That's not a pen. That's not anything. And I'm not going to touch on VAR, honestly, because I did it last week. When I talk about VAR, I'm not talking about the technology. I'm talking about the people in charge of VAR. You know, the people that run everything. The referees. These lot, their incompetence every single week, just grows. I've come to a conclusion, honestly, they didn't bring VAR in to make the game easier or to get decisions right or anything along those regards. It's just so they can have more controversies so people can speak about them. I don't understand how any sane person could look at that and be like, yeah, nah, that's not a foul. That's legal. Anyways, I'm not gonna touch on that decision too heavily, even though there's not really much else to talk about in this game because nothing happened. Both teams decided that they didn't want to lose or concede in this game. You have these two teams here who Chelsea have been leaking goals this season. They've had 2 3-3 draws this season. Two of them. We've only played 6 games. So these man, they're easy. They're easy. Anyone could get it in with them, right? You have United, who last time they played at home in the league held 6. 6 last time they played at home in the league. So you can get it in with them. You have these two teams who both can just give it up whenever they like. But when they link up, they decide that they're going to wait for marriage. I don't get it. Chelsea had one shot on target the whole game. One shot on target. Their forward line cost something like 200 million, something dumb like that. And they had one shot on target the whole entire game. They decided to play a 5 at the back in this game, Chelsea, which was all right, I guess. Worked in the aspect of helping them defensively, but offensively, it did absolutely nothing for them. I just want to touch on Timo Werner real quick, yeah. He doesn't look like the guy to me. I'm not going to lie to you, Lord. He don't look like the guy to me. Now, this is somebody in the summer I did want Liverpool to sign, and I was disappointed that we didn't sign him. But looking at him now, yeah, I'm going to keep Jota. I'm glad we got Jota instead. As a 9, yeah, this kid has no presence about him. The Bundesliga tax might be real. It might be real. Now, if you don't know what the Bundesliga tax is, it's something that football Twitter say. So essentially, because the Bundesliga, they play with a really high line, most of their team, attackers get a lot more goal because there's a lot more space in behind to run onto. So when players leave the Bundesliga to come to a league like the Premier League, you put a Bundesliga tax on them because that league is fugazi. And Timo's just he's looking like that tax is heavy. That tax might be heavy on that kid. Because I remember Julian Nagelsmann said it in the Atletico Madrid presser where they asked him, they were like, how are you coping without having Timo in the team? And he said something along the lines of, this game wouldn't be the best game for him because there's no space to run in behind for him to score goals. And it's looking that way. In this modern game, 9s, you got to be able to do multiple things well. You know, when you're playing up front by yourself, you got to be able to hold up the ball well. You got to be able to bring people into play. You got to be able to play yourself. You got to be a decent creator as well to let your wide players come tuck in. You got to be able to drop in. You got to be able to run in behind at the same time. Like, you got to be able to do a lot of different things. All of these different facets that nines should have nowadays. You see it with the best nines in the world, whether it be Aguero, Lewandowski, Kane, players along those lines, and others, Luis Suarez in this prompt. These kind of players can do multiple things well. And it can't just be a case of, oh, I need that space in behind in order to run on, in order for me to score goals, or I need to have the ball with me and I need to like be able to run with it, cut inside and score. And you gotta do a lot of things very well. He's gonna have to adapt his game for this league. I'm not writing him off. Still early for the kid. United themselves weren't that great either. They went back to a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, it really, they offered nothing themselves attacking. Rashford had a couple chances. He had one really good chance where I felt like, I don't know, like the shot that he chose wasn't a bad option, but I feel like it's the different strikers chipping that goal, man. He's chipping that. You just take a touch, you let it go a little bit wide and just chip it in. But I can't really fault the attempt. It wasn't a bad attempt. I just think he should have chose a different option when he was in that position. But besides that, man, the attack really did nothing. So when Oli went back to a 4-2-3-1, I get very confused by this formation because I look at the personnel that Man United have, and you clearly don't have a very good right winger. Greenford isn't a right winger. Now, obviously, he's played there and might be one of their best options for that position, but relatively, that kid is a striker, so he's not really a right winger. Rashford isn't a right winger. Mata, I don't know what he is, but I feel like in this stage of his career, that's not the position to play him. Dan James isn't a footballer. So you have no natural right wingers. And I feel like United would be best served to just play the formation that they played against PSG like forever. Now, obviously, Wan-Bissaka isn't the most comfortable wing back in the world. Like, he's not the greatest attacker, but he can do a decent enough job in that position for you. You can have the five at the back, which will help them with the deficiencies that they have in defense, right? You have Tellers, who for me would be a much more comfortable left wing back than he is as a left back. And then you can play your double pivot of McTom and Fred, and then Bruno playing ahead of them. And then you can have either a forward line of Rashford, Martial, or Cavani and Greenwood, and alternate them. Like, them four as your two strikers rotating is a scary prospect for most teams attacking wise. And then you can be a little bit more solid in the back at the same time. And I think that would possibly be the best formation for them to use moving forward. I'm not necessarily a fan of a three at the back, but I think for them and the personnel and the players that they have, this is the best option for them moving forward. So I didn't really understand why they came into this game having changed that formation. But yeah, both of these teams, honestly, they stink. Lampard's not making out the hood. He's not going to be Chelsea manager next year. There's no way in hell. And you know what? That's good, because I don't understand why these managers have even been given these positions. These Ollies, these Artetas, these Lampards. Like I don't understand what merit these men have to be coaching these teams in the first place. I said last week with Frank, if he gets removed as Chelsea manager, I'm not blaming him because he never had the credentials to be manager of this club anyways. It's not on him. It's not on him, and I hope he goes to a club that'll let him develop and build up a sort of reputable managerial career that he can get a decent job later on down the line. But right now, no, these Ollies, even though Ollie's been managing a lot longer than an Arteta or a Lampard, but these men, they don't have the credentials. I don't get why they got these jobs in the first place. So speaking of Arteta, let's get on to the Arsenal game next. They lost 1-0 to Leicester City. And boy, oh boy, it feels like the same thing I keep saying about this Arsenal team, man. They are just toothless, man. They have no attack at all. Now, Arteta, he played a 4-3-3 in this game, which the Arsenal fans have been crying out for, and it's good of him to change it. But sort of the way they attacked is still the same. Everything is built up through the left-hand side. Everything was going through Saka on that left-hand side. Now, they had a pretty okay first half, but in the second half, just like in the City game, they did absolutely nothing in that second half. And if you know Jamie Vardy and you know Arsenal, Jamie Vardy's going to bag against Arsenal. It's a given. It's what he does every single time he sees them, man. He scores against them. And I was just sitting there watching the game thinking, if they bring Vardy on, he's going to score. And what did they do? They brought Vardy on and he scored. The thing with Arsenal that I don't understand is this. Arsenal don't have any sort of creativity at all. In this game, I felt like when David Luiz was on the pitch, he was their most creative player. They have no creativity out wide, and they have no creativity in midfield. That is so bad. And they really don't have any creativity in the fullbacks. Like, honestly. Like, if you take somebody like Liverpool, yeah, we don't have the most creative midfield in the world. We have very aggressive wingers, right, that can either create their own chances or they create for each other. And we have a 9 that drops off to help with the creativity when we are lacking it, right? No matter what I think about that 9. And we have creative fullbacks, right? So even though we don't have creativity in the midfield, we have creativity in our fullbacks and we have creativity in our wide players, and our 9 is a creative player. So we can subsidize for the lack of creativity in the midfield. Arsenal have none of that. They just have no creativity, period. And for some reason, their best striker plays out wide, and I don't understand it at all. Willian has played more minutes up front than Aubameyang has. Eddie Nketiah gets more minutes up front than Aubameyang does. How are you not having your best forward in the best position to get you the most goals that you could possibly get? In this game, I want to touch on a player, 19-year-old from France. This is his first season in the Premier League. He's come from Saint Etienne. I know it's not William Saliba, it's Wesley Fofana. He had a really good game this game and makes me ask the question, where is William Saliba? Where is William Saliba? Like, this guy hasn't had a single minute of Prem football. Where's William Saliba? Right, I heard, this is what I heard. He's not in the Europa League squad. Right, so he's not going to get minutes in the Europa League. He's not getting minutes in the Premier League. And somebody told me, oh, he's 19. He's just come from the French league. He needs time to embed. Wesley Fofana, he's 19. He's from the French league. He's here. He's playing. He's keeping clean sheets against Aubameyang and Lacazette. So next we got Man City versus West Ham. Man City drew 1-1 to West Ham. It's funny because I'm thinking about West Ham. And it was really good of them to actually get a draw. Because normally when they play Man City, they get spanked most of the time. So it's really good. They were really resilient. And they were pretty good. And they came out and they deserved their draw. I'm laughing because somebody asked on Twitter, what is that your biggest like football theories? And I always say my football theory is West Ham only ever play top 6 teams. Like, they only ever play top 6 teams. Like, they don't play any other team. Like, who's ever seen West Ham versus Burnley? Like, honestly, have you ever seen it? West Ham versus Burnley. Have you ever seen West Ham play Southampton? No? Ever seen it? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, yeah, I'm laughing because here again, last week they played Tottenham. Here again, they are playing City. And next week, they got Liverpool. I'm telling you, West Ham only ever play top 6 teams, bro. They literally play 38 games of only ever playing the top 6 teams. And City, man, they got what? They played 5 games. I think they have like 8 points. either 8 or 10 points, the fear factor of Man City is gone. It's gone. It's gone, you know. And this is why I was so annoyed at Arsenal last week, because you could get at these man. Like, you could get at them because the fear factor ain't there no more. Like, attacking wise, like, obviously KDB's out, but they've become so reliant on KDB and Sterling that nothing else is popping in that attacking forward line. They're not imposing their will on teams that the way they are. Like, they started the season pretty badly for Man City. You know, if we're being honest about it, they started the season not that great. That Man City just aren't looking like the team that they used to be. Now, obviously, this Premier League title thing is still open, innit? And they still got a game in hand and that. Man, I thought coming into this game, Man City would just wipe the floor with West Ham the way that they normally do. Yeah, that team, they're just not there anymore. And then finally on this week's game we'll touch on is Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Liverpool won 2-1, goals by Bobby Firmino. Thank you for letting him finally score. I know it was an open goal. And Diogo Jota also ended up scoring as well. Liverpool were a goal down. In the early stages, we looked very rattled. Fabinho didn't have the best game. He had a pretty decent, well, he had a really good game against Ajax. But he looked very shaky in this game, which meant that Joe Gomez, he played great in this game. Which I'm very happy to see with Joe, because that's my guy, man. And I'm telling you, Joe has to play this way throughout the whole season. He has to now become the best defender in the club, because you can't trust Matip. Matip played one game against Everton and he's injured again. So you can't really trust Matip to stay fit throughout the entire season. So Joe has to be the senior head in that back line. And I was glad to see, for me, he was the man of the match. And if not him, it was Henderson who was the man of the match. Henderson had a great game. Today had a great game against Everton. And honestly, in 2020, all Henderson slander, you just sound stupid now. All Henderson slander is just stupid now, because he is so vital to us. So overall, I would say it was a pretty decent performance from us. I would like to keep a clean sheet. That would be nice. I don't think we're going to keep one against West Ham. I think Mikel Antonio is going to give us a horrid time. I think we'll win once again. It'll be one of them games that we're going to come out with. Whew. It's nice to get the 3 points. It'll be nice to just have a comfortable victory. And if we can get that against Midtjylland and we can get that against West Ham, then it will make me feel a lot more comfortable, because we got City coming up in a few weeks and we're not going to win that game. I'm telling you, we're not going to win that game. So it would be nice to just have like a good little run of games up to that game. So yeah, that's been this week's Game Week recap. Let me know what you think of this week's games, guys. Yeah, so let me know if I'm completely clueless about this ball game. Leave a comment. Obviously, like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you all next week.